I just had my first in-person session for 2026 and it was so beautiful and powerful. And I wanted to share an aspect of that and an aspect that I now offer for all my intuitive sessions, whether it's remote, whether it's in person. We now kind of incorporate lots of different elements, including identifying fears, identifying limited beliefs. But the one I want to talk about today is identifying and releasing protective mechanisms. I am finding these energies so deep, so protective, but then as we release it, it's just such a beautiful softening for the whole body and the nervous system. They're feeling really big, but really beautiful at the same time. So I'm just going to read from my chart here. But a protective mechanism is our body's adaptive response to feeling overwhelmed, unsafe, or unsupported. And instead of reacting with emotion, our nervous system shifts into survival. And this is to reduce the intensity of what we're feeling. And this can cause us to go into shutdown, to avoiding, to people pleasing, to controlling, and to just disconnecting. So it's very much nervous system response and shutdown for survival. These responses become automatic and they're not a conscious choice. And this is how we learn that this is how I stay safe. So if I shut down, this is a safety mechanism. But again, it's happening on such a deep subconscious that we don't sometimes even realize that it is happening. But every time it happens, it's connected to something that has happened in the past. Whether we've inherited it, whether it's our own experience, whether we learned this as an inner child, that it's safer to not speak up, it's safer to stay small. These are the things that we're carrying that do affect us in our current life experience. So they can show up when there's too much emotion, there's too much intensity, it's uncertain, there's too much responsibility, there's not enough support, there's not enough capacity to hold what we're going through, or there's not enough safety in the body at that time. And this can cause us to feel numb or disconnected, to shut down instead of feeling, it's difficult to access our vulnerability, overthinking, procrastination, needing certainty to move forward. Again, these are all protective mechanisms. And I gave this example today that with overthinking, it's a control, it's a safety. Like if I think of every possible outcome, I'm going to stay safe. I'm not going to get hurt. I'm going to be in control. I'm one step ahead. But that is not supporting our nervous system. That is not supporting, and it's not really changing the outcome. But that is a protective and safety mechanism that we carry. It can cause fatigue, tension, freeze, collapse, withdrawing, people pleasing, avoidance, and staying in our comfort zone, which we do not want anymore. We want to expand past that comfort zone. So by finding and releasing these protective mechanisms, we reduce our survival activation. We access emotional regulation. We update our internal safety. We choose new responses, and we return to presence instead of defense. So essentially the goal here is to move from shutdown into connection, from avoidance to capacity, from control to trust, and protection to expansion. I want to give some examples of the different categories and the different elements within these categories that we find. So there's a freeze and shutdown category, and the client today, we acknowledged mentally checking out. So that again is a coping mechanism that we shut down, we switch off, we go blank. Our nervous system contracts. We don't have the capacity to deal with that due to what we've experienced in the past, and that has become an imprint. Numbness, delaying responses. We have an avoidance and withdrawal category, and some examples within this are distracting ourselves with busyness, another huge coping safety mechanism, protective mechanism. Pulling away from others, needing to plan everything, staying in our comfort zone. We then have the people-pleasing and self-silencing categories. This came up twice for this client today, age 7 and then age 25. So we had it twice that we've imprinted. Saying yes when we want to say no. We're not aligning with our truth and our values. We're closing our voice, our expression, and we have learnt to stay safe, we have to say yes, which is not supporting us in moving forward and honoring our own energy and alignment. Apologizing unnecessarily, avoiding boundaries, avoiding conflict, staying small to not upset others. Huge. Numbing and distraction is a different category. Scrolling or screen use to disconnect. Me. I definitely do that. Overworking to avoid our feelings, emotional overeating or undereating. Again, it can be a coping, safety, protective mechanism. Perfection and overperformance category. Overworking to feel in control. Achieving instead of resting. Measuring our worth through productivity. Huge. Again, I could go on and on. There's so many, but you'll get the picture. So this is, it's been a huge area that I'm loving working on, and the shifts feel really big. And again, this is part of my intuitive sessions. If it comes up, it's we are able to support that either through emailed sessions, through Zoom, through recorded sessions, and in-person sessions. So I am just loving this so much and wanted to share. Thank you.